All right, there we go. We're live. So today's stream was a little delayed, actually, and one of the reasons it's a little delayed is my Arch machine just decided to go kaput. So this is one of the reasons why I'm probably going to remove Arch from this computer and get rid of it. I'm getting really tired of it. It's the only thing that if I don't touch this machine for a long period of time, it just dies. Everything breaks. So let's fire up some music here. So I'm hoping this works properly. Today we're going to do some Golang. All right. So I got a screen up there. Looks like I've got chat up there. Awesome. And what I wanted to do today, there's nothing like big and exciting from this stream. Basically, I just want to do a little refactoring on my Golang app. Let's bring that up here. Make sure I've got the latest version. Yes, we are at the latest version. So earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, I don't even know. Actually, it was Saturday. That's right. Saturday, we added Celsius into the database. So let's go ahead and open this up really quick and I'll show you. I added Celsius to the database for our hot car project. The hot car project is where I stuck a Raspberry Pi in a car and I stuck a Raspberry Pi outside and measured the two temperatures during a insane heat wave. So we'll go to the hot car here and we'll go to readings.db. Let's check it out. So in here now we have car temperature Fahrenheit, car temperature Celsius, outside temperature Fahrenheit, and outside temperature Celsius. So good stuff, right? Good news. And actually, I'm going to check something real quick. Does my side camera work? Yeah, it does. All right, cool. So what I had to do earlier, I was going to start the stream earlier, and every time I went to click, it's like, you need to update your NVIDIA driver. So I'm like, cool. pacman.syu, updated the NVIDIA driver, did all the things, didn't work. Actually ended up going with an entirely new version of OBS, recompiled it, blah, blah, blah. These are some of the reasons why I am not as big of a fan of Arch Linux as I used to be. About 10 years ago, 11 years ago now, I decided to start using Arch Linux. I built it, compiled it. At that time, it made my hardware so much faster. It made my computer so much faster. So I'm like, this is totally worth it to compile all this stuff all the time and tinker with this stuff all the time. Well, now I've got this super fast Digital Storm computer. It can run anything super fast. And I'm getting really tired of just recompiling stuff all the time and doing updates every day. So I'm going to get rid of this Arch machine eventually. We'll see. But for now, it's here. You might notice in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, I have my environment. Since I stream from so many different machines, I figure it's probably a good idea to show which machine I'm streaming from. So I have the Digital Storm Lynx workstation. That's what we're on right now, and that's the big i9, 64 gigs of RAM, NVMe, all that stuff. It's a super fast screaming machine. I have Windows 10 and Arch Linux working on it. So whenever I do a stream, I'm going to just have it up there in the upper right-hand corner so you know which machine I'm working on. I also have a Mac Mini M1, pretty fast, not nearly as fast as the Digital Storm, but pretty fast for a newer ARM platform type machine. So when I'm on that machine, I'll have that up in the corner. And then I have my 10-year-old Mac Mini that's sitting on a shelf right now that's running Pop OS. Sometimes I'll stream from that. That was actually pretty fun, even though we had to stream at a lower resolution. It was pretty fun. So you'll be able to see whenever I sign on, you know, because I'm going to do some stuff with Blazor and Windows. I'm going to do stuff with Golang and Linux. You'll be able to see in the upper left-hand corner there which machine I'm working with and which operating system I'm working with. And today, the topic is coding in Go on Arch Linux. Took me a little while to get here, but we're here. We're rolling. We're good. We're happy, right? So for one of the things that we will need to do is replace this records.db. So I brought up in here, let's look at records.db and what it used to look like, right? So go to hotcar. Hotcar is the one that we just looked at a few minutes ago. It has the humidity, temperature in Fahrenheit, temperature in Celsius, all of these things, right? But the old database, the one that we have the web API for, does not. It just has car humidity, car temperature, outside humidity, outside temperature. So we need to refactor that. We need to drop in the new database. We need to put in those new table names. And we need to make our digital storm, or digital ocean, sorry. I'm on a digital storm machine, but with a digital ocean, or digital storm application, but with a digital storm machine. So actually, I'm going to go on to DigitalOcean right now. Jump into DigitalOcean, and it looks like I need to sign in and probably answer a text message. Oh, this is to my email. Okay. I'll grab that little verification code and sign into my DigitalOcean account. So if you remember last week, we built a little application on DigitalOcean. Pretty cool. I'll just drag it over here so you can see it. We built the Hotcar API. Whoa. That's being awful weird there. I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see if I can get this thing to minimize. This is super annoying. Holy moly. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. I was trying to maximize it, or at least get to the application. I'm probably going to have to close Chrome. Like I said, these are some of the reasons why I'm just growing very tired of Arch Linux. Just silly little things all the time. Maybe this will work. There we go. Okay, so we have our Hotcar API. Let's open it up and take a look. Hello, you've requested blank. Right? And if we go into this API and we request some of the, like, we have days as a method, we have readings. So we'll check out readings really quick. And it just dumps out JSON of all the readings from our Hotcar API. Cool. Rock and roll. But these are all in Fahrenheit. And a couple of people, actually more than a few people, emailed me and said, we would like it in Celsius because we don't live in the United States. We would like it in Celsius, which is cool. And that's what the scientific community uses also. They also use Celsius. So I decided to put Celsius in there in the same table. And we wrote a Go application that did that. Now we just need to do a little refactoring so that it comes out from our API. So to do that, the first thing we'll need to do is we'll need to copy over a new records DB. So I'll go in here to repos. We'll go to Hotcar. Readings.db. This is the new database with the new readings. And we will just drop that into Hotcar API. Now in here we called it records.db instead of readings. So we'll just move that to trash and we'll rename this records.db. Now I'm just going to run it. I know it's not going to work, but I'm going to run it. Server listening at 8080. Hello, you've requested blank. Oh, give me some readings. Whoops. just says you've requested readings because I need to capitalize that. There we go. No such column, outside temperature. So what we need to do is just look at the difference between the columns, and we'll check out the columns in the old database, check out the columns in the new database, and we'll add them accordingly. So here's what the old ones look like. We have outside humidity, outside temperature, car humidity. 4. We are now going to be working with this. And actually, we could just open up that other database. But now we're a little bit more explicit with our reading names. So let's just jump in and take a look. So for readings, we open up records.db, which is a new file now. And let's see, for readings, we do select timestamp, outside temperature, outside humidity, car humidity. 4 of these. What I can tell right now is we will need to change our model. Here's the model that's returned, and this is, it's just a struct. And this struct is turned into JSON and sent out the door. This is the first thing that we need to change is this JSON, or I'm sorry, the struct, because we're not going to be able to, if we change that query, it's not going to insert into the struct if it's still modeled the old way. So let's just do this one by one. Car humidity, let's see, car humidity and outside humidity are going to be the same. These don't need to be touched. But outside temperature no longer exists, right? Because now we have outside temperature Fahrenheit and outside temperature Celsius. Not a problem. We'll just put that in there. Actually, we'll change this one, outside temperature Fahrenheit. I always have a hard time spelling Fahrenheit. And we want to change this also, of course. Great. So now we have outside temperature Fahrenheit. Let's just copy that and say outside temperature Celsius. And this isn't going to be a very long or complicated stream. I wanted to do, like, all the work I'm doing on this API, I want to do it live on stream. So that's why we're here today. Let's just duplicate this one. We'll say car temperature Fahrenheit. Car temperature Celsius. Car temperature Celsius. All right, so now our struct is identical, like it's matching this. So we have our timestamp, we have our car humidity and outside humidity. Both of those are still the same. They're still just floats. Now we have car temperature Celsius, car temperature Fahrenheit, outside temperature Fahrenheit and Celsius. So now we'll have to adjust our queries a little bit. Not a big deal. We'll just say outside temperature Fahrenheit, car temperature Fahrenheit, outside temperature Celsius, and car temperature Celsius. Just some minor refactoring, not really that big of a deal at all. Celsius. So now we're selecting timestamp, outside temperature Fahrenheit, outside temperature Celsius, car temperature, where timestamp like search day, right? Because we did that. And here's what we can do for the bottom one, because the bottom one very similar. So now we're great. Now our query is great. Query is taken care of. But if you go down here, you can see that as we're starting to scan things into that struct, we've got a problem. And as you can see here, outside temperature Fahrenheit, I'll just make a copy of that, comma, Celsius. I've got a little autocomplete going on. Right now I'm using Tab 9 Pro. Check it out. It is awesome. Celsius. Okay, now it's scanning into that struct. Really, I don't think there's anything else that we need to do here. Let's run it just to try it out. Because we can, right? Localhost 8080. Oops. Bring it over here so y'all can see what I'm doing. Readings. Now these readings come out just in a big blob. It's not very well formatted. Even if you view source, it's even worse, right? Because it's all in one line. But that's fine. So now we're showing that we're returning a timestamp. Outside temperature Fahrenheit of 103.2, outside temperature Celsius of 39.9. Scroll over. And I don't see, oh, there we go. Car temperature. Actually, instead of view source, let's go here. We got car temperature Fahrenheit, car temperature Celsius. Perfect. So now we just need to push this to DigitalOcean. We'll be refactoring. We'll be doing well. Like I said, this is going to be a super short stream because there isn't a ton of refactoring that really needs to be done. I just wanted to kind of do all this live. And also, since it took me so long to get this Arch Linux machine back up and running, back up and good, now it's cutting into my family time. And I would highly recommend anybody in tech to prioritize your family time when you can. It's important. It's more important than tech, believe it or not. So this thing looks good. Git commit -m, and we're going to say added Celsius table. Git push. This wants me to sign into GitHub. You can tell I haven't done this in a while. All right, now let's jump over to DigitalOcean again. Which I somehow become signed out of. Okay, cool. Apps. Should see some building activity going on here. There we go. Building service. So now it's rebuilding my Hotcar API service. Very cool. Very exciting. If you have any questions about this, feel free to drop it in the chat. I can see combined on all my platforms, I've got about 30 people on here. So if you have any questions about this, if you haven't watched the previous streams, none of this makes sense, but we're just putting together a Hotcar API, which is all of that temperature data that I gathered through that heat wave. We're putting it into an API. We're going to attach a Vue.js application to it in the coming weeks. And actually, I'm going on vacation next week. So speaking of family time, I'm going to spend a whole week next week with my family. I'm not going to be streaming, not going to be online. Going to be fishing in the ocean, both off the bank and in a boat in the middle of the ocean. It's going to be great, but I'm not going to be streaming. So if you're following me, you know that I do Monday and Wednesday Not going to do Monday and Wednesday next week. But the week after that, I might stream some extra days because I've got so many cool ideas that I want to throw forth. And I want to do live on stream that I'll probably stream more than one Monday and Wednesday when I get back. We'll see. Also, I had this idea. So while we're waiting for this thing to build, I can just sit here and babble, right? Another idea I had. So Monday I did a stream with Blazor. I did face recognition in Blazor. It's kind of cool. I built an application a while back and I wrote an article about how to do it. So there's a face API, it has a .NET SDK, it works great. However, you have to do something a little different with Blazor and WebAssembly to interact with those two. So that's where I got the idea, like, hey, maybe I'll attach a Blazor app to it. Because if you want to attach a WPF app or an ASP.NET app or something, you just call the SDK. It's super easy. With Blazor, it's not so easy. So I wrote an article. First, I built an application, tested a bunch of stuff. Then I wrote an article about how to create a Blazor app and connect it to this Azure Cognitive Services API. It was a really cool article. It was really well received on Code Project. And then I decided to do a stream on Monday where I did that. And I kind of read through the steps in the article and built it. I wasn't really thrilled with how that stream went. Not really thrilled at all. I don't know. It seemed kind of clunky. I was like looking at this and looking at this. So what I'm going to do to make up for it to you, my audience, is we're going to build a facial recognition app from start to finish. I don't know exactly which day I'll do it because it may take 3 or 4 hours. But I'm going to build it from start to finish, from memory, from up here, instead of following an article. And we're just going to sit down and build it. And I'll show you some stuff about Blazor WebAssembly. I'll show you some stuff about CRUD with Blazor, how it works, how to update the UI elements. It's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be great. I think it's just going to be cool. So I'm going to be doing that soon from a Windows machine, Windows 10. From this Windows machine when I reboot and go into Windows. So it'll be cool. It'll be awesome. Right now we're still waiting for our Hotcar API to build. It's taken so long that I think it may have a problem. False. It looks like it deployed correctly. Sometimes I kind of like it when it doesn't build because then I can learn something and we can all learn something when I mess it up. But this was such a simple process. Ta-da, there we are. Our Hotcar API on DigitalOcean is working great. So now we have outside temperature Fahrenheit. We have outside temperature Celsius. Let's just throw this into a JSON formatter. I don't know if this is too much information for a JSON formatter, but we'll see. It's going really slow. But it worked. Look at that. All right, so here's our JSON. Check it out. Huge shout out to JSON Formatter for immediately formatting that huge file. This is what our record now looks like. This right here is what we're looking at. So we have a timestamp, valid equals true on all of these, which is pretty good. And we're going to add that into our Go API, actually. As we're doing a Go Web API, we're going to add that in so that we'll check for validity on each of those records before we display them. That'll be a really cool exercise to do. But we have timestamp, which is a string. This was the timestamp, UTC. I'm going to convert that to Pacific time, probably. Then we have our outside temperature Fahrenheit, outside temperature Celsius, outside humidity, outside temperature Fahrenheit, outside temperature Celsius again. And I can see that I need to do some rounding or trimming on this because this is some pretty deep precision there that we don't necessarily need. Then we have car humidity. And so we have each of these records. This is all being spit out by this API. Exciting stuff. After my vacation next week, we're going to do some connecting with Vue and possibly Blazor, because I love Blazor and I just want to spread Blazor to the world. I want to show everybody how absolutely cool Blazor is. So we'll do a front end for this thing in Blazor and Vue. And you might be asking, you know, Blazor is a Microsoft product, right? And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I decided to be funny today and wear a Microsoft shirt while I'm coding in Golang on Linux. But since Blazor's a Microsoft product, you might be thinking, okay, do we need IIS? Do we need Azure? Do we need none of those things? Actually, a Blazor app will compile into WebAssembly that you can host on GitHub Pages. You could host it on Amazon Lightsail. You can host it anywhere you want, any static web host, which is why I'm going to do one in Blazor that processes this data, shows it, maybe we'll draw it on a graph, and I'll do the same thing with Vue.js, because Vue.js is one of my favorite new front-end frameworks. And it looks like I've got something in the chat. I just got a Pi 400. It's really cool that you're giving one away. Thank you, Lucy, in chat for reminding me before I sign off here that I'm giving away one of these. The Raspberry Pi 400. When I reach 500 followers, if you go onto my Twitter, it's the top pinned tweet. If you retweet that tweet and follow me on Twitch, you'll be entered into a drawing, and we're going to do that drawing live. You'll be entered into a drawing to win the Raspberry Pi 400. And Lucy just said, just got a Raspberry Pi 400. You're going to love this thing. It's cool. This is like the old school computers that you plug into a monitor, right? You just click, click, click. Plug it into a monitor. It's a built-in keyboard. And this has a Raspberry Pi in it. It's Raspberry Pi 4. However, it does have a little less memory than a Raspberry Pi 4 on a board. But this thing is cool, man. You can do all kinds of stuff, and it has a GPIO port right there. It's awesome. And I'm going to give one of these away to somebody in the United States because it's the only place I can ship it. But as soon as I reach 500 followers, then I'm going to take my follower list and my Twitter list. I'm going to build a list and send it up to this website that's going to do a random drawing with a little spinning wheel, and somebody's going to get one of these. I might even give away 2 of them. I don't know yet. Which means you should probably follow me on Twitch. So for this stream and a lot of streams, I'm going to Twitch, going to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all over the place. But primarily where I want to focus my efforts is Twitch. And that's where I do the most streams. So follow me on Twitch down below. I have the URL. And yeah, thank you for the reminder. Because I forgot to throw that out. So follow me. Thank you, Lucy, in chat. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off of here and go hang out with my family. We've done a little changes, a little refactoring to the Hotcar API. This is public on GitHub. So I'll bring this up before I leave. This is entirely for fun. So I'll bring these up here really quick. The Hotcar repo and the Hotcar API. So the Hotcar repo, this one here is where a couple weeks back, I decided to take these CSVs and crunch them all into a database. And then I've done some more work to it. So with this Hotcar repo here, you can run this and go, and it will crunch all that data and stuff it into a SQLite database. But the Hotcar API is what you just saw tonight. This is an API that you can put up that runs a Go Web API. Very fast, very quick, and it spits out all that data. So you can do it by day. You can list the data. This is hosted on DigitalOcean. We're doing one of those DigitalOcean, like $5 a month apps. It's a really cool service. As you can see, all I had to do is just a git push, and voila, it's up on DigitalOcean ready to be used. Very cool, very awesome. So this is about it for my stream today. It's only going to be half an hour. I promise I'm going to do some more Golang. I've figured out that people on my stream really like Golang and they really like Blazor. So those are the two things that I'm going to focus on the next few months. We're going to write some Blazor, we're going to write some Golang, we're going to write some Golang that interacts with Blazor. We're going to do both of those things, and it's going to be cool. So thank you, everybody, for coming to my stream. Make sure and follow me. Make sure and retweet that tweet on Twitter. I'll show it here. Right there. On the front page of my Twitter, I've got it pinned up at the top. Retweet it. Follow me on Twitch, and you could win one of these Raspberry Pi 400. Not this one. I'll give you a brand new one in a box with all the accessories and cables. Send it right to you. So thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you soon.